The Indiana Fever signed a new point guard. We have big updates on Sophie Cunningham and Syndey Coulson's injuries, and the New York Liberty continue to dominate the WNBA. You guys, there is so much to go over, so let's jump right in. What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Today, I have another update video for you, which is the exact opposite of a rant video. But shout out to all of you guys who tuned into the rant video that I posted over the weekend. I just had to get a few things off my chest. But today, fortunately enough, we have some better news, some more positive things to talk about in today's video. And let's first start by talking about the updates that we got on Sophie Cunningham and Syndey Coulson's injuries. Now, if you guys remember, in the last game against the Connecticut Sun, Syndey Coulson suffered a knee injury and Sophie Cunningham seemed to re-injure her ankle. And I was actually most worried about Sophie's injury because the way that she went down and for how long she was on the court, it looked like it could have been something serious, and she's a pretty tough player, but she really couldn't put any weight on it during the game. And at practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White had to say this. She said, "I think we got good news from both of their MRIs, as good of news as you can get." And so right now it's a day-to-day thing. We're looking forward to hopefully them returning at some point sooner rather than later, but at the same time, it's how each of them progresses in their rehab. So from this, we don't know the exact diagnosis of their injury, but like she said, as good of news as you can get likely means, or I'm thinking it means, that there were at least no torn ligaments. And also, we saw a video on social media of Sophie Cunningham at practice, and she was actually wearing flip-flops, and she had no brace, no tape, and it didn't even look like she was limping, which is wild. I mean, it's great, fantastic. Like, I'm so happy that she's feeling better, but also the way that she fell and how much pain she seemed to be in, I'm so surprised that it healed up to the point where you're able to wear flip-flops, because normally with any sort of ankle injury, like, flip-flops are a big no-no, but she looks to be walking fine. No brace is a great sign. Now with that, you guys, the Indiana roster is whittling down with Caitlin Clark being out, who's the starting point guard, and then the backup point guard, Syndey Coulson, also being out, and then the backup point guard in Sophie Cunningham is also now out. So the Indiana Fever have used their option to sign a hardship player, and they just announced that they signed Ari McDonald via emergency hardship exemption. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I'm not super familiar with Ari's game. She played for the Sparks last season, but I was not worried about this hardship contract signing because whoever they signed is only going to play a couple of games, and it's not like this player is going to come in and turn around this team or play a huge role. They honestly just need to go in. They are an extra body for the team, and they need to be able to take care of the ball, learn the offenses quickly, do a decent job on defense as well. Like, with these hardship signings, I feel like essentially you just can't be a liability, and I feel very indifferent about them signing her. I hope that she does great. I hope that she performs on the court. I hope that gets her a longer term contract in the WNBA, whether it's with the Indiana Fever or with another team, but I'm really indifferent, and I probably would have been indifferent to whoever they chose to sign. And I'm seeing some people get frustrated with this signing or throw out other names of who they would prefer the Indiana Fever sign. I just don't think of all the things that we should be overreacting about. This is not one of them. But one thing that I actually thought was so funny is that if you guys remember, Ari McDonald was the player last season who shot a free throw, and she immediately went to face guard Caitlin Clark. And to be fair, we clowned her all season because it's kind of wild that you're so preoccupied with guarding Caitlin Clark that you forget that you have another free throw. So it was just a funny moment. Like, there's not much more to that, but I kind of LOL'd when I saw this video clip of her going around. Now, a lot of fans were hoping that the Fever would sign back Jaylen Brown. If you guys remember, she was one of the last players who was cut on this Fever team before the start of the season, but it was just reported that Jaylen Brown has signed with the Connecticut Sun, and the Connecticut Sun could use as much help as they could possibly get, because you guys, they lost to the New York Liberty this weekend, 100-52. It was actually insane. It was a record-breaking win for the New York Liberty, and with that win, the Lynx and and the Liberty are the last remaining unbeaten teams in the league. They are both 7-0 on the season. And as you guys know, a lot of us had the New York Liberty and the Lynx in the top 2 spots in our power rankings. And it seems like these two teams who were in the finals last year, they picked up right where they left off, and they are doing absolutely incredible to start the season. And it's funny because I feel like the WNBA teams have kind of sectored out into these tiers of how good these teams are. The Lynx and the Liberty are in an absolute league of their own. And then there's this kind of mosh pit of pretty good teams can upset any team on any given night. And then there's this other sector of really bad teams, including the Dallas Wings, including the Connecticut Sun. The Sky were in that mix, but they're kind of chipping away, getting back into the wins category. And the Fever are on the brink of the bunch of teams who are relatively good and then this bottom tier. So I really hope that they can turn it around soon. And a lot of Indiana Fever fans were also freaking out that the Connecticut Sun lost by that much to the New York Liberty, and they actually beat the Indiana Fever. But I also, you guys, I wouldn't look that deep into it. Sometimes in games when you start getting blown out, you just start to give up. There's not that much fight left. And somebody who really struggled that night was Marina Mabrey. And I feel bad for her because she got stuck in Connecticut. She asked for a trade. They did not grant it to her. She's not happy there. She did not want to stay there. And she has, until this game, really been their premier player. She went off against the Indiana Fever, but she was -55 on the night, which actually breaks the record for the lowest plus minus in WNBA history. Not good for the Connecticut Sun, but great for the New York Liberty. And in other good news, the Golden State Valkyries just became the first WNBA franchise ever to pack the house with 18,000 fans at each of our first 3 home games. So that is 18,000 people, 3 games in a row. The Golden State Valkyries have so much hype behind them, and I love their fan base because it's also genuine. It's an authentic fan base. They are there for the new girls. Like, they are riding for their team through the wins, through the losses. And the Golden State Valkyries honestly have become a really fun team to watch. Their style of basketball is really fun. They play with a fast pace, and like I've told you guys in other videos, I see them being a team that in a few years, I think they're going to get it together. I think they have a pretty decent coach who plays a fun style of basketball, and to have all of these fans, I feel like that franchise is going to make sure that they figure out how to get to a winning team soon. And in her last game, Kate Martin had one of the best games in her WNBA career. She went off for 14 points in limited minutes, but let's watch some of these highlights because I feel like she finally found her groove. She was playing in the flow of the offense. As you can see here, she goes for a fast break. She beats her player off the dribble, goes left. And a lot of fans were saying, like, this looks like the OG Kate Martin, the Iowa Kate Martin. She is finally, finding her rhythm and getting involved, and she has a much bigger role on this Valkyries team than she did with the Aces. She hit a long 3 here, and then she hits another long 3 for, I believe, an and 1 here. And lastly, I wanted to shout out some other good news, the attendance around the WNBA. So the Minnesota Golden State game, like we just talked about, had over 8,000 people there. The Connecticut New York game had 17,400 in attendance. That's a crazy embarrassment for Connecticut, but we'll leave it at that. The Phoenix LA game had 11,000, and the Vegas Seattle game had 10,200. And Dominique Malonga also got going in that game against Las Vegas Aces. I loved seeing her go up against A'ja Wilson. Like, she was already guarding her. She was guarding Chelsea Gray. And if you watch Dominique Malonga, like, her defense is so good. And I honestly predict that she will become Defensive Player of the Year within the next 5 seasons in the WNBA. And I truly hope that Seattle starts to really trust her and learn Dominique's strengths. You cannot play her as a typical center. You really have to play her as a stretch 4. As you guys can see from some of her highlights, she has a bag of post moves. She's not somebody who's going to go in there and body, but she can also shoot the 3, and her defense is so good. So I was so excited to see Dominique get more minutes, and I think as the season goes on, she will get more and more minutes, and she will be a really scary asset for the Seattle Storm. But with that, you guys, I think that's all that I have for you today. I also wanted to update you guys that I likely will not have a video tomorrow or the next day. Dre is in playoffs right now and we have a really big game tomorrow, so I want to spend my last little time with him and helping him get ready for his games, and this will be my last time in France for the year, so I just want to enjoy these last couple days. But I will have more videos for you guys at the end of the week, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, you guys, I'll see you next time. Ooh, and